People don't need to be saved or rescued. They need knowledge of their own power and how to access it. This is where science and spirituality meet.
Join us as we deep dive into topics and share tools to empower yourself along your soul's journey.
Hello, everyone. This is a really fun episode, depending on how you see it. I'll call it transformational. It's called Turning Your Wounds into Your Superpower. Seriously, we all have superpowers. We need to harness them. We need to use them and transform. I think the thing I want to say here is flip the script. Wounds, that's a negative connotation, right? That's a negative way of seeing things, but it's the truth. We all have wounds. And how can we change that? How can we turn them into things that can support us, benefit us, and become tools in our lives?
I think that is such a great way to take things to the next level. I really do. That is what can catapult people out of that victimhood state of, I can't do this because of X, Y, and Z, or X, Y, and Z is preventing me from living a happy life because of these incidences. We can't go back in time and change things that have happened to us, but what we can change is our perspective on them and how they continue to either hold us down or they can set us free in a sense.
Yes, I'll share with you guys. I have a tattoo and it's the Latin word for wound, vulnus, vulnus. And I heard this talk, 12 years ago, 11 years ago. And this man said, to carry a wound gracefully is the word vulnus in Latin. So I had that put on me. And I have it where I can see it. And it gave me, it provided for me, that word vulnus provided for me a starting point, right? It's, oh yeah, I don't have to just stay wounded. I can carry this wound. You carry it through life. You use it as a reference point. You live with it, through it, in it. At times in your life, it changes, it morphs into something else. But for me, I choose to carry it gracefully. So
let's see it. How did I not know this? How did I not know this? And it's right there.
See there.
Oh,
there it is. I don't know. I'm trying to, there you go.
Yes.
Vulnus. So yeah, it just came to me like, hey, I'll share that with them. So that's what I'm talking about, flipping the script. We all have experiences, whether they come from trauma or a childhood experience, something that really jarred you and became that wound in your life. And I think one of the things that could be helpful as a tool is use it, break it down into components, if you will. And this takes time. This is a challenge. It takes a lot of reading and healing and all kinds of iterations of your life, if you will, to get to this point. But it can be done. And again, I'm always going to say it, time and space can collapse. But if you use the components of that wound, what are they? Those you can flip. And those can become those experiences and those tools that can now help you, and you can draw upon them for strength and a way to move through life. And they can be a testament to what you've experienced and how you can be there to provide information, support, and healing for yourself and for others.
Absolutely. They are our battle wounds. We're warriors on this earth. We're soul warriors, and these are our battle wounds. And I love that you just honor that and just stand with that power of that. And that comes with that next level of transmuting that energy, is to honor that and not allow it to prevent you from evolving, to where there's a sense of acceptance with it. Yeah, I accept these things, and They may have molded and shaped me, but they don't hold me back. They empower me to evolve in that way that has presented itself.
I
And
like what you said, battle wounds. Like when I think about that, I'm like, wow, we've all been through trials and tribulations. And you said earlier before we got on about a wound experience is a test of your soul. I just love that, Wendy.
yeah, it's this. I love just, it's great to be in the present. You'll hear a lot of people say, be in the present moment, the present moment. I think a lot of knowledge comes with looking at things from a bigger lens as well than just what's going on in your physical presence right at this moment, to take a look at what is this bigger picture. And how I always say earth is soul school. We come here, and when I say soul school is we sign up basically to learn different experiences, and that's how we evolve our souls, and we learn different lessons. A lot of times they come through bad experiences.
Right.
A lot of times soul growth comes through traumatic experiences. These
Right.
things don't mold and shape us. They are here to teach us different things and whatever it is that our soul decided to sign up for. And I know that may sound a little woo to some people, but when you start taking these onion layers back a little bit, and how we evolve and how we grow, taking this bigger lens thinking, this higher perspective kind of thinking, helps with these onion layers and helps us kind of put some pieces together. It's coming out of amnesia. And what is going on? What is the purpose of these things? Why do these things happen? When we start asking these deeper life questions, the woo world and the science world, and how we always talk, we love it when spirituality and science meet.
Yes.
I think it's important to just get this bigger lens kind of perspective to these really deep and heavy energies that have presented ourselves. We all have really heavy, just heavy is just the word that just keeps popping up, these heavy experiences. And coming back to this bigger lens perspective, I think helps you decipher a little bit into this perspective that we keep talking about. And everything is how we perceive things and our mindset. And so I just think it's important to just point out this bigger lens when
Yeah.
we're looking and diving into these topics. And so in talking about taking these wounds into our superpowers, and how do we do that? How do we break down these terrible things and in essential find a silver lining in them? But great things do come out of destructive times,
Right.
because that is what evolves us, unfortunately, sometimes.
And that's not to say, and it should be acknowledged, when you do have a wounding experience, it can put you in a place of stunting you in your growth pattern, in your growth evolving. It puts you in that survival mode. It puts you in that mode of it's me against the world. And I remember feeling like a porcupine. In my experience, I would equate it to that. Anyone would come at me and all my quills would come out. I was just trying to protect myself. But I think when I look at wounding and turning it into, and not negating it, turning it into my superpower, the first and foremost is to have empathy for the actual experience, not just, it's not enough to just say, I'm going to silver line it, because that does come down the road. But first, it's you got to acknowledge it and provide yourself support services or healing or awareness or introspection to move through it, or you won't. It's, again, we all get to choose. But I do believe all those pieces that we've been through, those battle wounds can provide those tools, right? Can provide those tools that you can pick up and use for yourself, flip it, turn it around, and you can hand them off to others. Say, hey, this is what I experienced in a similar situation, and this is what worked for me. Just as a suggestion, you might want to try it, or maybe you'll find your own way. But here's some new way to look at it. It provides such valuable information.
Yeah, and it's such a process, depending
Yeah.
on what specifically it is. It could take years of unraveling, and
Mhm.
different phases and stuff comes in different waves. And it is a process. It's a soul's journey.
Yeah. Yeah. A soul's journey. Wow, that is
Soul's journey.
beautiful. And like you said early in that other episode, it's like everything is temporary. So this isn't a fixed circumstance in one's life. These are experiences, but we are not our experiences. And I think
Stuff
that's what
comes,
I had to learn with wounding and trauma. I'm not my experience.
yeah, and stuff comes with phases. If you're dealing with a grieving type of thing, there's time you need to allot for that. And that's going to look different for everybody. Everybody has different meters and different ways of processing and dealing with things, and or life pivotal moments. It's good to be sensitive with yourself and allow time to process things in a healthy way. And or if you know of somebody that is, to not pass judgment and just let people ebb and flow with what works best for them, and just know that things do come in phases. Life is always evolving, everything is always churning, and everybody has free will. We Our thoughts, we all have a lot more freedom with our minds than sometimes we think we do. We do have a lot more power and control over that, more than we think we do, even if it's in a tough space, in a tough time. We Like we had said earlier, everything is temporary.
And I like to say the other thing is, how do you say it? The mind, don't let the mind run the show. Pay more attention to your body, soul, mind connection, not just live from the neck up and go logical. Oh, I can lean into this and take care of this and deal with my wounding. It's never going to work that way. But if you feel into your heart, will give you the guidance. Call that your guidance system, if you will, to transform into superpower. And looking through life through a bigger lens. Because when we are in those survival modes, when we are stunted, it's very easy to think like we get self-absorbed. We go inward, and that's all we can see. But if you can reach out, ask for help, don't isolate, get support, you can turn things into superpowers. Turn your experiences and wounds into superpowers.
Yeah, and going back to that why is a really good gauge to
Right.
help.
There was a crossroads, Wendy. I was just thinking at some point when I was toying with all of this through my own experience, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm at the crossroads. I've given myself enough awareness and enough information that now I can flip this and I have that choice. So do I move forward or just stay like this? And for me, that crossroads was that why. It's, oh, because I see there's a beautiful day out here today, or I know there's good people out there and they show me support, or there's just the beauty of things became beautiful again on so many levels. And I thought, I want to experience that. I don't want to just live in this soulless body being busy dying. There's this phrase, I don't think I've said it yet in the podcasts, but this one really helped me. It's this quote from Stanley Kubrick. It says, however vast the darkness, we must supply our own light.
Mm.
And when I think about this topic, turn your wounds into a superpower, that comes to mind, because I must have said that quote to myself thousands of times, because I was like, wait a minute, I have to pull from my light, from my grace, from my forward momentum. I've got to provide my own light. And then everything else opened up. But to your point, there was that time in my life when I was like, nope, I'm done unplugging.
Well, and it is that warrior coming in. It's that higher self. It's your spirit guides. It's all of your guides coming in as that support too, to give you that hope and that faith and that fire within you, to where I'm here at my crossroads moment. I've had a moment like that in my life where it was just on my knees, just and but yet that warrior came through. And I think you just got to get to that angry spot to just kind of light that fire.
True.
You go through phases when you deal with loss in whatever way, whether that's death, divorce, moving, whatever these types of situations are that just are bring you to your knees moments. It's like we were saying, these phases, and it's good to get that energy out of your system. I think it's all appropriate and just part of the process of getting through these things, so that they don't carry on with us and we can use them as superpowers. Fire within oneself too, and where these whys come from and this strength comes from, and that inner warrior comes to the scene, to where it's, I'm at my crossroads, like you were saying,
Right.
and I can go this way and I can go that way. That's where we all know people who have been in similar situations, and we've seen people take both of those paths. And what do you want your life? Your free will. You're the writer of your own story. And the story has many twists, turns, plots to it. And just remembering that in that higher lens perspective. And okay, what's the next chapter going to be? And that's where our superpowers come in.
And you deserve it, and you are worth it, and you are important. You do make a difference. And you being here is so important to people you've never met in your life. So when you transform painful experiences, wounds into your superpower, you're giving to the collective consciousness. You have a lot to contribute, and you'll be surprised. You'll just be this light that others are gravitated to, and you can help somebody else as well. So that's why I say grace for me is a big way of seeing a wound.
And it does connect us with people. It really does. It's wow, that happened to you too. And that's how we can connect and not feel like we're alone with things. Nobody understands what I'm going through.
At the time, you're like, you don't know.
Yeah, you have no idea. And I think it's really good in everybody sharing different things and just owning it all, owning the good things, owning the wounding, just owning it all. And just, this is who I am. This is what I've learned from this, and how that can help others as well.
Yeah.
And that does turn into a superpower.
It sure does.
Woo!
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you taking the time to listen and letting us share with you. And if any of this is helpful, please use it, take what you need, and leave the rest.
And whatever your wounds are, turn them into your superpowers. You are a warrior. And
boom.
Oh, much love.
Yes. All right, you guys.
All right. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
For now.
Bye.